Hey friends, in this video, I'm going to show you how I stay organized and productive in my creative business without having burnout and neglecting other areas of my life. I'll walk you through my entire bullet journaling process as well as the other tools that I use alongside the bullet journal to stay organized and make sure that I don't miss things. If you're new here, I'm Erin, and the things that I love to talk about the most are the big picture of what's really going on with you spiritually as you are embodying the version of yourself that really it's not just who you want to be, it's more embodying who you really are, more of your entire self. But I also, equally importantly, love to talk about the details. How do you stay on top of organizing and just managing all of the important details in your day-to-day life? And my very favorite tool for doing that aspect is bullet journaling, along with some other digital tools that I use. My bullet journaling method is all about keeping it simple enough that you can be consistent, but also making it pretty and engaging enough that you just will be delighted when you look at it. And don't worry, there are no artistic skills really needed, because my whole method is based on using tape and stickers and things like that that are already pretty in the first place. So it's really not hard. And this isn't about adding an extra practice to your day-to-day life. It's about actually just doing your life and adding a little creativity and flair to it. Firstly, I want to set up the mindset that getting organized is part of self-care, just like taking a bath, taking a walk in nature, like going to the gym and taking care of your body and eating well. Getting organized is something that you don't want to neglect, because the version of you that is calm and on top of things, you have some system for this in place. I mean, you don't want to be that kind of person that is hustling and working and so busy that you need to actually hire somebody to organize your garage or remember your spouse's birthday. Before we dive into the practical steps, I want to also say the mindset shift that was so critical for me. And it was that instead of seeing getting really organized in my life as something that I would do one day after I made it, after I already built the successful online business that I wanted and had the money rolling in, you have to decide to be that person right now. Because this is how embodiment and manifestation works. And of course, part of embodying and being that version of yourself right now means that you take the time to be organized and aware of all of the details that are currently going on in your life as it is right now. This is a huge break for me, and I'm sure for some of you out there, from that hustling ahead, from posting on social media every day to drive growth and to drive traffic. Instead, it's deciding that you're going to be slow now. Because any actions that are consistently taken from that place of needing to strive and grow and strive ahead and hustle ahead are just going to lead to more of that same energy. So you decide now to be slow and to take your time and to be aware of all of the details. You decide to take only the precise actions from that feeling of deep fulfillment that is what you are genuinely wanting in all of the areas of your life anyway. And when you develop the discipline to only act when the action meets that feeling, then your whole reality in life supports this. And you can trust me. I mean, you can trust me, but you don't have to trust me. What you need to trust actually is the body feeling. When I say these words to you, you can feel in your body that this is true. This is how the universe really works. And this is the whole idea of bullet journaling and that I mention, and when I'm talking about how you're going to choose your actual tasks for any day-to-day, any day of your life, is that you're wanting to always be checking in with your own body. It's not about, trusting the gurus and the systems out there. Here's this system that you use, and if you follow these steps, then you will get rich just like I am. It's about always tuning in, first and foremost, answering to yourself. And by answering to yourself, I don't mean answering to this idea in your mind. I mean answering to tasks, choices that fit that bodily feeling of what is you living your highest ideal for yourself. Since I've been bullet journaling and sitting with myself in silence daily, I've noticed these benefits. I no longer forget birthdays, appointments, and deadlines. I'm better at handling fear and doubt and not trying to fix it right away. Instead, I have the fear and doubt and I just let it be there. And I look at my list of tasks and decide that I'm going to just keep going forward, keep doing my list of tasks, or make a conscious choice to take a rest and do something nurturing for myself. What I don't do, however, is spend a lot of time on distractions, such as scrolling or substances or eating or any of those things that we use to distract ourselves when we're feeling fearful and doubtful. I also spend way less money on unnecessary courses and memberships, which nothing wrong with those things, but again, when I'm not trying to buy into those things in order to solve problems in my life, I just find that I just simply spend less time and money on that kind of thing. I make deadlines for myself that I meet to do all of those boring business tasks that are currently necessary in my business, such as filing paperwork on time and filing taxes and things like that. And I do more of what's meaningful to me and not just what looks great on social media. In fact, I don't share as much on social media about my day-to-day life as I used to. I was very wrapped up in that external validation. And these days, I want to share things that are meaningful to you because I just feel moved to share them, but not because I want you to say like, oh, that's really great. I love your lifestyle. Nothing wrong with lifestyle influencers, but I want to tell you that I went through that, but it ultimately lost its appeal to me to have just fans that say your lifestyle is so great, because it isn't about that. It's about, I want your lifestyle to be great. I want your lifestyle to be exactly what you want to be, and this is a tool that has helped me. If that all sounds good to you, then let's go ahead and dive in. Before I get to my bullet journaling method, I'm going to talk about how I use the Google Calendar to make a master list of certain types of things. And firstly, I want to say I know that bullet journaling purists have ways they'll make monthly spreads or they will set everything up monthly. I have to admit to you, I've never actually even read the bullet journaling book that was would have coined the term bullet journaling. So I'm not actually super familiar with that method, although I eventually will read it because, hey, I might learn and grow and find something useful in there for my method. Anyways, so the reason that I use Google Calendar is that it's a tool that I was already familiar with using, and it just makes a lot of practical sense. Instead of drawing a monthly calendar every month and putting things on it, I don't like to do that just because it's, to me, is a tedious task. I don't like coming up with like a design way of making a calendar and actually drawing it when I can just simply refer to this digital calendar. The digital calendar lets me put things on it that happen every single month or every quarter or every year and set up the reminders for those recurring events. And it's so much easier, of course, to delete things, to change the dates of things as things shift and change. So I don't have to babysit this as much. It's just very easy to shift it. So the way that I use Google Calendar is that there are tasks and there are events, right? So when you make a new thing, such as right here, I can choose event or task. And you'll see that the way that I have it set up is I often will do both of those for the same exact event or task. And the reason for that is that tasks are a little bit limited. What's cool about tasks is that once they are done, you can mark them as completed. And then I love how you can kind of get rid of all the other noise on your calendar And isn't it just satisfying to go ahead and like complete all these things? I'll have to go back and uncomplete those because they're not actually finished yet. But especially for things that I know that this, for example, is due on the 20th, but I can do it anytime after the first of the month. And so once it's completed, I can simply mark it as completed. And part of this is that you have to develop the habit of actually looking at this calendar regularly, but you can, of course, also set up reminders. And this is why I also do the events for some of the same things, because, for example, I have here sales tax due for Tennessee. That's something that I have to do every single month, is just file the sales tax. It takes a few minutes to do. And if I don't do it though, and I miss that deadline, I have to pay a $15 fee. If I file it on the 21st instead of the 20th, then I have to pay a fine, and then I'm not in good standing in my business, and it's not a great thing, right? So that is why I like to have the event too, because I can set up a reminder. So events in general are a little bit more robust in the capabilities that you have. So when you are in here, you can set up any type of reminder that you want. I actually don't have a notification, so this is what I should have set up here. Now I have one, okay? And this will just be a little pop-up on my phone, but of course you can send yourself an email notification however many days, minutes, whatever, before you have your event. And I find that extremely useful, and that is why I have both of those. You could also even add a file here if you wanted, but what I really like to do is in this description section is to remind myself what I'm going to do there. So it's like, oh, here, I'm going to submit this and I'm going to do it on this website. Now I have this kind of down, but I didn't at first. So then I don't have to be scrambling to figure out, what I'm going to do every month. And especially for things that only happen once a year or once a quarter, it helps to have that information just already right there in the calendar to remind me, oh yes, I know exactly where I'm going to find that. I know what to do. It just lessens the barrier to just taking care of that task and getting it done. Okay, I'll just go ahead and save that. And then of course you can add all these other things on here. Another category of tasks that I put, so a lot of these have to do with finances and when credit card payments are due and things like this. Another category that I like to add, I don't have any done here, but if I start a free trial, or if I have something that is under warranty, or something that has a return window of 30 days, 60 days, whatever, I like to add that to my calendar right away. This was especially important for me when I was buying a lot of items and furniture for my new house, and I wanted to make sure that I spent the time to engage with those things, and if I needed to return it, I wanted to know when that return window was coming up so I don't end up with items that I just didn't really like but simply have to keep now because I forgot the return window. And also the same kind of idea for the expiration of warranties and things like that. It's just kind of nice to have those things. You know that warranties could expire a year from now, 3 years from now, so you might as well just go ahead and put it in this calendar now so that then you have that helpful reminder when the warranty comes up. And then another category, of course, you're going to have your own things that are meaningful to you, but birthdays, I don't have any this month, but this helps me to stay on top of when my nieces and nephews' birthdays are. And I set a reminder several days in advance or maybe a week in advance so that I can make sure to get them a gift and get it in a time frame such that it arrives on time before their birthday. I'll mention this again when we get to the actual bullet journaling method, but these two tools work in conjunction with each other. So if I look at this calendar and I say, okay, it's past the first of the month, but before the 20th, and so I need to put sales tax, I need to do the sales tax, I'll go ahead and start writing it in my to-do list for this week. Now finally, I'll get to my actual bullet journaling process. So although those digital tools are super useful, my to-do list lives in my bullet journal. Why? Because the journal is always just sitting beside me. It's open on my desk. It's open beside my computer when I am at a coffee shop. It comes with me when I'm traveling. It comes with me if I'm staying over at a friend's house, if I'm visiting family, all of those things. This is, again, of course, by the way, why it's a better place to put your to-do list than on a whiteboard or on post-it notes that just clutter up your desk area. Well, those things don't come with you either, do they? So if you're somebody who lives a mobile lifestyle and also just likes to keep your desk and office area clean and not shouting at you all of the time, this is the key. So here is my bullet journal. I have stayed with this brand over the years. I will say that I have tried at least one that I found on Amazon, and the paper quality just wasn't good enough, and that really matters in this process. So this brand is Clever Fox. In the past, I always used the smaller versions of these, which actually had a smaller grid. So one of the things here is that it has a grid of dots, and this has a 5 millimeter grid. So there's a 5 millimeters of space between all of these dots on here. And at first I didn't love that because the smaller book actually had a smaller grid. So it actually had more lines and more rows, so I could more neatly write more tasks. But I'm getting a little used to it. The reason I went with the larger book this year, even though also it has a lot more pages in it, and it's another thing that I don't really love. I wish it didn't have as many pages because I don't want it to be very heavy because I'm carrying it around all the time. But what I did like about this is that the actual pages themselves were a bit larger, and that meant I can put more decorations in. I can make it a little bit more fun. I still have plenty of space to write everything that I need to write in my weekly kind of to-do flow. This is the most recent weekly spread that I just made, so it doesn't have any tasks written on it yet, but just to show you how fun it is here's one for actually the previous week before that. This is the current week that I'm in, that I'm working on. The one before that, and you can see that they are, generally speaking, the same format, which I will talk about, but they are completely different in their design and the kind of feeling of it. And how fun is that? That it's just like you can just have your planner look completely different from week to week, but still be kind of like familiar. Okay, so I digress. Here are the basics of it. One, and I will put the links to all these materials below. One of the things that's important is the pen. I prefer this type of Sharpie pen because it can write very precisely. I write in all capital letters in my bullet journal because I don't want the lines to overlap each other. I don't want the writing from this line to overlap the next line. And I used to only write on the lines guided by the dots, but since these are farther apart, sometimes I actually kind of squish them together. It's been going okay. So I think it's worth it to have this extra space. But the general premise here is that I split on the right side of my weekly spread business and personal. And I generally make the personal section smaller than the business section. I only will kind of change where this line is sometimes, maybe based on if I took up a bunch of space there at the bottom. But generally speaking, I have a lot more business tasks than I do personal tasks. So I don't have to, make this space very large. But this is where I would put things. Let's see, what kind of things do I put in my personal? Find the, records for my dog, my rabies records for Rosie because I'm traveling and I'm thinking of going to Canada, and I would need that to prove that she's got a rabies thing. I have to set up mail forwarding. I still haven't done that actually. Get an oil change for my car. Work on my budget and my credit card spreadsheet. I guess I consider that that's a personal / business task. But anyway, so these are the kinds of things that I would put there. And then in my business, I make separate sections. Let's go to one of these ones that's fresh. I make separate sections for different businesses. So this would be like, this general section here is kind of like my main section. And then I have these other 2 sections that are for different businesses. So I have 2 Airbnb businesses, and I have this business that I'm currently working on, this YouTube channel. So, and I have what the business that's kind of leaving, to be honest. I don't even like to talk about it very much, but as a freelance model, something that was my main job for the last about 8 years or so. But I'm paring away at the tasks related to that, and in fact, I might be at the point where I'm just not doing it at all anymore. And that is why this is so powerful, because you can tailor this to what you need from week to week. So if halfway through the year I add another business, or I add even another personal task or project that I want to specifically put tasks related to that project in a visually distinct area of my bullet journal, I can. And I love this so much more than just writing a long list of tasks that are all jumbled together, because then I can visually see that I'm making progress on all of those specific things. And it just helps me in my mind to stay more organized, to see all of those things done separately. Okay, so then on the right or the left side, I have the days of the week. And I like to have, I'm gonna make my face a little smaller here on this one. Yeah, there we go. I don't need to be so big. On the left side, I have my basically calendar of the week, right? And so this is where I will take things from this list of tasks that I have over here that I think I may want to get done that week. You know, I don't force myself to get every single thing done, I just put those there as basically suggestions, things that I want to get done, so that they can just live here in this paper instead of having to be jangling around in my brain and me being, scared that I'm going to miss something. And I like to see a whole weekly spread at the same time. I think that if I recall, I did watch a video on like the purist kind of bullet journaling way. I call it purist, but it's like the OG way. That they would just write one day at a time and just write the tasks for that day. And then when they're finished with that day, then they write the next day, and then they start writing the tasks for the next day. To me, that's not as helpful, because when I see the entire week, and I really do like to have a couple of weeks done ahead of time, I can then plan things ahead, especially the things that are enjoyable and the things that bring me joy and are important. So, for example, I love to go rock climbing. So I actually put that on my calendar, climb with Augustine at Wild Iris. So that's where I am right now. I'm actually in Lander, Wyoming, recording this even in the library. You got to use the resources that are available to you. And this is what I'm saying. This is the power of this tool to me, is that I still have this beautiful analog tool that can come with me wherever I go and help me to stay organized while I'm enjoying and being, on vacation, kind of in vacation mode, and doing the things that I want to do and having adventures, right? Okay, so I like this way of doing it because it lets me plan out when I'm going to do certain tasks. And the way that I do it is that I'll list out these tasks for these different categories, and then I will put them over here. And when I am finished with the tasks over here, I just put a line through it. This is a little different than the way that it is taught in the original bullet journaling method, where they only put lines through things, I think, if they're irrelevant. There's like a bunch of different symbols or whatever. But I think it's just so satisfying to cross something off, because then it visually, I don't read it again. I don't have to spend any mental energy reading that thing again anymore, because it's just kind of like invisible to me. I do have a course on bullet journaling where I dive a lot deeper into just like the very specifics of the methods and all that kind of thing. I'm trying to keep this detailed enough so that you feel like you get a sense of this and how it goes, and you could actually just get started. But also, I don't want to make it super long and detailed, because I've already made a long detailed course, and you can check that out in the link below. It's available by donation. It's available by pay what you want. So, if you appreciate it and want to show some support, feel free to give a donation, but also no worries whatsoever if you don't want to. no problem. And you can see right here, I even put record Bujo instruction video. That's like literally what I'm doing right now because this is the week that we're on. So I want to pause here and talk a little bit about the mindset because this is so important. I talk all the time about embodying the version of you that you want to be, which is really just embodying the version of you who's completely expressing yourself. Most likely, you have some idea of the way that you would truly love to live your life. And even if you don't know all of the specifics, then you know the feeling that you would have if you were consistently on a day-to-day basis living your highest vision for yourself. You would feel grounded, you would feel inspired, you would feel just balanced and relaxed, peaceful, you would feel joy, you would feel healthy, you'd feel just free and abundant, right? So that's the feeling that you're after. And so your day-to-day tasks, to the best of your capability, you're gonna learn to discern and listen to your body. This is again why an analog tool is so great, because we all know that digital things, when you have to pick up your phone to look at your to-do list on your Notion app or whatever, you're opening yourself up to distraction. You are also opening yourself up to just the signals coming from the actual digital device itself. I actually take that quite seriously, and I so much prefer interfacing with this analog tool because it lets me to actually hear the signal inside of my own body more clearly. And this is going to sound a little bit like you're mentally thinking about, okay, so if I were this version of myself living my ideal life, what would be the next tasks that I would do? You know, and you can mentally think about it that way, but more likely it's kind of like, I'm going to put this on my list and kind of see how that feels. Would it feel like good to just kind of do that and to actually believe and live in the reality where it's already done, where I am already doing that thing? And, you know, of course, to use my own example, for me, making this video about bullet journaling and talking about bullet journaling is like, it's the most delightful idea to me in the world. It's not because I searched my mind for what is a thing that I know a lot about and I'm an expert in, that people might pay me money for. It's not that type of mental exercise. It's, what is this thing that I just love to talk about? I can't shut up about it. Now, this might take some trial and error if you're somebody who is, you know, wanting to move into a new business venture. Most likely you do have some idea of what that would actually be and what it would look like, but be open to the idea that you might have to try some things, see how they feel, and then be willing to just drop them. Be willing to just not put any more time and energy into that when it doesn't really feel right for you, despite the fact that maybe you bought a course that showed you all these steps and you think that maybe if you follow those steps you're going to get there faster. Don't fall for that. More and more you want to be doing the precise tasks that really align with who you really want to be. This is your strongest point of attraction. And once again, don't believe me just because I'm saying it. Believe yourself. Believe the feeling in your own body. If this feels true to you, just stay there. Keep marinating in that. You will eventually do it. Now, as you go throughout time, you're going to put these things on your list that are going to be like pushing you a little bit in that direction, and be ready for all the stuff to come up. Be ready for all the limiting beliefs to come up. That might be where you make a little short list for yourself. I'll do an example here, since this was a day that I basically just went climbing all day, and then I don't remember what I think I took a walk with my dog when I came back, but I didn't need to write that on my list. But let's say I'm going about my tasks and I'm just starting to feel like, I'm just kind of, it's 2 PM and I don't know what to do with myself. Maybe I'll make a little short list of, okay, look at my regular calendar. What needs to be done today? Is there anything that actually has a deadline, such as filing those taxes or whatever, that just like has to be done right now? And then what can I safely do that that would be nourishing to me? So I might be like, okay, well, I know that I do want to go to the gym. And I want to do a stretching routine. And I might even have an idea for exactly that routine that I want to do. And then when I come back, I'm going to fold my laundry. And then I'm going to meditate. I never actually even write that word. I write it as reawaken or sit in silence, because those are terms from Oracle Girl, which I will also link below. Really huge influence for me. And then maybe I'll take a bath or something like that. You know, so I'm just brainstorming here. So these are kind of like the nourishing things, or clean the kitchen, whatever it is that's like just things that you need to get done. You can write these super basic tasks, and normally I would be writing a bit smaller than this. I've kind of stretched it out, but as I said, these things really can fit in a smaller stretch. I really miss having the, I always do this when I'm writing on camera, forget a letter. I really miss having the closer together lines. All right, so that is the process of just writing your tasks, planning it out. And in this way, you see that you are making time for the things that are important to you. And then you will become less distracted by the things that are just wasting your time. When you start to kind of feel some resistance, and you start to go to scroll or whatever it is that you do that's your addictive habit, maybe go ahead and refer back to your bullet journal. Make a conscious list of things that you actually want to do that might be fulfilling and nurturing for you. Sometimes it will be working on your business a little bit. Sometimes that's like honestly helped me to come out of those like anxious states, is to say, you know what, I think I'll just, I'll write about this topic a little bit more. I'll work on that outline for that video. Maybe I'll set up the camera equipment and figure that out. So just like one little task related to that. But you don't have to push yourself. You don't have to push yourself to hustle ahead in that business. Remember, we're breaking the habit of doing that right now with this process. Naturally, I'm sure you're thinking, okay, so how do I make this beautiful weekly spread? Well, I will show you. The way that you're seeing my weekly spreads looking now, it's actually a little bit different from how I had explained it in the course that I made. So in the course, I draw these lines, so this line and these lines, with my pen, this pen here, and using a foldable ruler. So this foldable ruler, it's still useful, and it comes with me. And in fact, I think in the course I used a different ruler, but I would recommend this one. This one is far better than that other one, because that one that was made out of plastic broke and it had a gap in the middle. So this kind of foldable ruler like this is just awesome, because it just makes a completely straight edge. However, I actually don't even really need to use that anymore, because instead of drawing the lines, I use this tape, this thin washi tape, to actually make all the lines. I have to credit my sister Amber for getting this beautiful tape for me. It's just so cool and fun, and it's pretty easy to make a straight line because you're using tape. Here we go. We've turned the page to another weekly spread. And I have several books of these stickers. This brand I really love. I loved this one because it has all these beautiful, cute, little romantic quotes, but it also has a lot of floral things. I look for stickers that have some inspirational quotes that I like, and also that they have a couple of elements, inspirational quotes, and I also want ones that are just purely decorative. So like these things, they're just images, because I don't want my whole entire thing to just be full of words, because it's a little too much visual clutter. But I also do like the words. I like the, dream big, and, whatever, be brave, you saw on my previous one. I like to have a little bit of that, because I like the inspiration, and I like the ability to choose what it's going to be too. So instead of when you buy a planner from the store or on Amazon or whatever, and it is just, you're just kind of stuck with whatever it says that week, whether you like it or not. But on This way, you get to choose yourself every single element that goes in it. This brand, I go to the Michaels store here in the US to buy it. I like to go to the store and hold it in my hand because then I can actually look through it, but you can look for these online. These stickers are pretty high quality, and one of the qualities of them is that once you've put it on the page, it's actually fairly easy to carefully pull it off in case you didn't do it straight or you want to replace it. I mean, we try to put things in the place what we ultimately want them, on the first try, but it doesn't always work out that way. There are plenty of other stickers out there, of course, in the world, though. Here is a set that my sister got me for Christmas through Temu. These stickers they have some fun English errors because I'm sure they were created in China. And also, they do tend to, once they're stuck on there, they're not as easy to remove. So you kind of just have to be a little more careful. But this is just the one that has these cool little monthly things. See, for September, and there's like cool little elements there. Other things that I look for, I like these kind of like little specialized stickers to some degree that I can use for emphasis, or things like this that I use for separating, things like this that I use for separating out those little sections like we talked about before, the sections that I use for the different businesses, for example. And finally, here's like a ton more stickers that my sister also got me from Temu. And yeah, just as you can see, they are really fun. These ones, they're shiny. And honestly, I don't always love that because I don't like how they catch the light. See, this one is all matte stickers except for the shiny elements and the tape, and I actually like how that looks better. And I see how these stickers are like they have their own shine to them. It's fine, it's beautiful. It's its own thing. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna make a new weekly spread starting right now. And I also have my washi tape right here. Since I'm traveling, I put it all in this little camera bag. So I carry all this stuff around with me, and we will get to the markers later. Got those all right here too. All right. So how do I even start? Now since I do it the same way every week, it's really just not hard for me to get started, right? I might start with just choosing a sticker or a set of stickers that I really like, or that, just want something that's a little different from the last week. Or, you know what? I'm gonna actually do something a little different. I'm gonna start with just choosing, I wanna use this tape. So I wanna just find some things that sort of mesh with that. This tape is a little bit kind of like orangey. It's a little bit, vibrant. It's giving summer vibes, which is appropriate since it's June. I used all of the June stickers, the ones that came on the page for the month of June in this one, but I'm going to find some other things from my other sets that might fit that sort of a vibe. You know what? Let's just go ahead with this sticker here. I kind of move these around in this section, where I'm going to put these other little So for what I'm saying is that I don't always do them the same way. So this, I didn't do a blank sticker. I actually made the sections, out of these smaller stickers. So like this is the one business, other business, third business, right? In this case, one of them is going to be made with that circular sticker. And this is a little bit similar to, just do this in front of the camera. Here's another tape that I have. This is a thicker tape. It's giving me trouble, of course. I'm trying to do this on a video. It's real life. Okay, let's tear that off. Okay, that wasn't the neatest tear, but I don't really care. I'm gonna only put it on this side. Now, look, if you want to make this sort of really straight, this is where it's still helpful to have that ruler even though I'm not going to draw any lines on this, I can use this ruler to tear this into a more or less straight line. I'm not super perfectionist about it. Cool, and I put a nice little row of the citrus fruits. Looks like, I don't know, limes and tangerines or something down there. And, you know, I'm already seeing that these don't really match in their vibe, but, you know, it's okay. I'm just like kind of not so super perfectionist about it. I'm looking at this like little stack of stickers here. These are all kind of floral, and I don't know if that's really what I want there. So I think I need something maybe more funky than floral. And I can still go with these like butterflies and stuff. So those are sort of fun. Oh, this is pretty cool. So it says, you don't have to be anything other than yourself on there. This is a pretty big sticker. And I know that because of a past experience, that if I put this right here, I'm mostly cutting off a bit of my, it's a slightly crooked, but I'm not bothered by it. But if I were bothered by it, this is what I'm saying, is that this is kind of an effect of the quality of the stickers and also the quality of the paper, that you can just pull it off and replace it. So what I was going to say is that I know that I can cut off a fair amount of this personal section that I'm going to make here, because from experience, I know I don't write very many things there. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead, and because the washi tape also is fairly movable, I've completely changed my mind, and I'm going to go with just this kind of a little bit more subdued butterfly vibe. I don't want those colors on there. So I'm just going to take that right off, change my mind. And I probably am going to go ahead and do different washi tape embellishments too, because I have a lot of different options that kind of mesh a little better with that one. And these thin tapes really changed my life. This is why I'm able to do it this way, is because of these thin tapes. And when I want to make another spread, I just kind of refer to the other week to see where they line up. So I just kind of vaguely do it like that. And as you can see, sometimes I'll put the sticker there first and then put the tapes around it, which is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to choose a butterfly from this set to put somewhere in the middle here. I don't actually want to put it on that top one. I want to put it in this spot right here. And maybe another butterfly. Do I want to do another one? Sure. Oh, I pulled off one of the antennae by accident. You know, these stickers. Let's see if I can get it back on there. Okay, there. All right, so I've got my couple of butterflies there. So I've got a nice quote. I've got some decorative elements. What I still need, of course, is a couple more sections over here to represent my different businesses. And for that, I can, well, you know what, let's just go ahead and look through this one. So this is the set that has, I really like this set. And you'll notice that there are these like little stickers. And this is why I like to keep the stickers nearby throughout the week, because I don't know yet what I might use one that's this size for. But I might eventually do that. You know, if I have an appointment or something that's important that comes up in the week, I like to use those stickers. I'll just find a good example of this somewhere, like such as this, where I just put the sticker there for that appointment, or like this one or this one. But I can't do that all at the beginning of the week because I don't have all the information yet. So I like to keep them close by so I can keep, you know, creating and adding to it throughout the week. All right, so I'm going to look for another thing that I can use to demarcate that section. I think, you know what? I was going to do something a little different here. And use one of these to kind of make that section. Okay, so this is going to be one of my sections, and I think it's a good time to put the tape here so we can actually see where this goes. So I just chose a tape to, great, so I know that it's going to be right about here. I just chose a tape that is going to match. And for the really skinny tape, it doesn't matter so much about tearing it off super straight, but it's still helpful. It's still helpful to use the ruler to do that. It's easier to tear straight because it's thin. So you can usually get away with doing it with your finger. I kind of want a little bit more words, inspirational quotes, whatever. Where can I find something? But I also want the words to sort of fit the vibe. Be love and light. There's nothing wrong with this. I'm just trying to think if it aesthetically fits. Because this set of stickers has it has like 3 different kind of themes in it that seem to go with one another, but they don't all go together. You know what? I think I will. I'll go ahead and use it because it's cool and do I want to put it there? I think I can safely put it. Oh no. See, this is where it's good to be able to pull it off, right? Okay, so again, takes some discernment. Like I know that taking up this bit of space from this whole section is going to be okay. I might have done this differently if I were to do this again, but I have a section here for one type of thing, and I also, this is something that I've been doing lately, is kind of sectioning those off, even using other stickers or other washi tape, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like this is one section, and then this is one section. I don't usually actually mess around with this so much, but I think because I'm talking, kind of, I'm not gonna like it. Because I'm talking, I'm kind of like rushing it. Kind of on the spot here. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it alone because I'm gonna write my business word here. Since I know what they are, I don't even have to write those words, but I still choose to. Okay, so I'm gonna finish putting the tape here. Do I want to go? No, I don't want to do that. That's the original tape that I was going to use, but I don't want to use that anymore. It doesn't really kind of go with my vibe. And I might use more of this same one unless I find a cooler one. I have a huge collection here, as you can see. There's some others that also would fit nicely. This one. No, I think I'll with this one. Now let's just do this one. It'll be fun. Okay, so I know that this is about the center. This is what I was saying. You can usually use your finger to do that for these really thin tapes. I love them so much. You know, that just brought up a really cool thing I just discovered. So one thing about these tapes sometimes is they come unstuck and That's annoying when you've just spent all this time to make this beautiful spread and then your tape is not sticking. So I have a solution for that. And this is a glue pen, so it's a pen. I bought this on Amazon. And you can actually, if you needed to stick down this edge, you can actually kind of like, of course it's not going to work. Let's get the glue flowing. Oh, it is, now it is doing it. So now the glue is coming out. So I put a little bit of glue there, and then I'm just going to lay it back down. Probably you don't want to actually scribble on your real page that you're going to write on. Do it on somewhere else. See, look, here's another one. This glue, and then just tamp it down there. Then it stays. It's not always necessary, but like sometimes that tape doesn't stick. Okay, so again, I'm just referring over here to where that is, and then I just put this tape across to section off my days. So look at that again. So for this one, I'm going to go around the sticker. That's why I put the sticker there first. I just kind of find it aesthetically pleasing, especially with these transparent stickers, to not put the tape first and then put the sticker on top. I prefer to just put the sticker there and then kind of work the tape around it. But you, of course, you can do you. You do whatever you want. I always start my days with Monday, and then I have Saturday and Sunday here. Even though days of the week for me don't really mean all that much, because it's not, I don't have like a weekly job or anything like that, but it's just been working for me. And if for some reason I need to put a lot of things on a Sunday or Saturday, I just borrow space from somewhere else that I have space. It's not really that big a deal. As you can see, that also makes this Friday section the biggest, and that is also why if I'm going to put any extra little decoration, I tend to put it there. So here's another little set of stickers. So if I just want to throw some other little element there for fun, I'll put it there because there's plenty of space there still to write things. All right, so that's basically my weekly spread. I mean, that didn't take me very long, even though I was messing around with it a bit. And look how fun and beautiful it is. It's just like so. Okay, so now we're not completely done. I didn't write down, you know, I didn't label the sections and I didn't label the days of the week. And for that, I'm going to use this type of marker. These are Tombow markers. And the reason I use these is that, oops, it's got a little piece of tape on it. The reason I use this brand of marker is that they have a brush side and they have a thin side, and they don't bleed through the page. That's really important. So you can see I wrote personal here, and when I turn the page, you don't see any vestige of that at all on this second page. And the way that I even select this color selection here, this is very intentional. I like to go to the physical store to buy these, and I buy them to match the set of stickers that I have. So ideally, you would have the stickers with you in the store. So for example, if I have this set of stickers and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy, I don't actually have them out, the ones that match this. If I'm gonna buy a marker to match one of these stickers, I might say like, okay, yeah, cool, that matches. Or this one right here, no, this one right here might have been, you know, a fairly close match to that, because I like how it looks. I like when it's cohesive. I like when the colors more or less match between the stickers and the pens. So that is precisely why I have these colors. And I am always using this color. It's like the last several weeks I think I used this color of pen, but I might end up using it again. This is kind of like a goldish color. I know that I got this for another sticker set, but it still might work for this one. I think I'll go ahead. We'll go for it. See what happens. This is where you might know that if you look on Pinterest at things having to do with bullet journaling, it's become this like this huge sort of beauty contest of designs and ways to do it, and it can be really overwhelming, and this is why I teach it this way, so it can be beautiful and delightful but not overwhelming. You want it to be easy and delightful. And so all I do is just write one letter in just regular cursive. You know, there's nothing really very special about this. If you want to learn calligraphy and different fonts, you go right ahead, and that's awesome. It's just not really my thing. So I just kind of write it in regular basic cursive. And do I want to use the same color? Yeah, I'm gonna once in a while I will combine these two because I don't have a good match for like this type of a tone, or I'll just bail and use the just the pink one. And this, I know I'm probably not gonna really be able to use this little section here very effectively. See, it doesn't quite match, so, and this is like, I don't usually have to do this, but I'm gonna do it this time. I think it's a little bit of a better match. I like it. Business, and then what colored? I guess I'll just make the personal the color too. I mean, honestly, it's a little bit brighter than I would like, but I just don't have the right color. And then to write, it's helpful to me to write the actual numbers of the days. So we left off with 22nd, so then we're going to do 23rd, and this is where I use the thinner side of the same color marker so that it's just still all nice and cohesive. 23rd, 24th, again, really nothing very special about the way that I write these. Okay, then I'm done. You know, maybe in hindsight, I would have just left this that plain pink. And you know, if you ever are kind of like, you don't like something, you have a couple of options. You can cover it over with a sticker or washi tape, or you can use a whiteout, like a correction pen, to do that. I have tried a couple of correction pens, and I still think that probably just this regular Bic one is cool. I got these like really cute aesthetic ones, but the reason I don't like these is that they're actually kind of hard to write on after they're done. But I'm just going to demo this anyway. Yeah, this looks a little ratchet, so it's not as cute looking now because I've corrected it. I'm probably going way extra for the purpose of this video. Might cut this out, but I'm just demonstrating this for you, an option if you don't like something. And I know that's not the cutest look, but it's about not being a super perfectionist about it all the time. And, you know, I might just go ahead and redo it. I've never actually written on this with this marker before. Okay, so I probably just made it look a little uglier, but if you really hate something that you've done, you just like want to trash the whole thing, you can always like just tape the two pages together with washi tape. Like, it never happened, but I'm still okay with this. And who knows, I might fix this up a little bit later. I might put something else over top of it. I don't know. Editing Erin here. I actually did end up moving some things around on here. I got rid of that quote sticker that was here because I decided I did need a little more space. I changed the angle of this one, and I moved this one down a little bit just because I liked it a little bit better and added that. And this is my final look. All right, but basically that is it. That is the way that I make a weekly spread. And it's just so easy and flowy. It's something that I do when I'm just like on the phone with customer support, or if I just kind of have a few minutes and I just want to do something fun and creative. I'm sure these are supposed to be bullet points, but I'm just going to add them. They're just the stickers that are from this set. I just kind of want to put them here because I feel like it. And then I'm ready. And there you have it. That is the basic structure of the way that I do bullet journaling week after week for now the last 3 years. And this has really worked for me. If you're familiar with bullet journaling and all of the potential things that you can add to your bullet journal, if you go out looking on Pinterest or whatever, I don't recommend spending too much time on that. And that's pretty much the point that I'm making, is that I needed a system that was simple, that brings me delight when I look at it, but that I'm not looking at a blank page thinking about like, oh, how am I going to do this? Do I have to draw something? All of these things and do I have to scroll through Pinterest looking for inspiration? And it becomes a whole extra job. Am I spending hours on this every week? As you can see, I'm not. I am doing something that takes almost no time just to make something beautiful, to hold all of the structure for me in how I go about my tasks throughout the week. And even when I'm building a new business, I am not hustling ahead. This system, and plus the other things that I mentioned, sitting in silence with yourself, really tuning into your body, is about breaking the pattern of that hustling. I don't do habit trackers. Who knows, maybe I'll even go back to that one day. But the reason I don't do habit trackers currently, and I haven't for the last several years, is that I find that when I'm embodying naturally the version of myself who I want to be, so I want to be somebody that is really fit and flexible and everything like that, it's not actually that hard for me to just go ahead and put the gym or going outside rock climbing or putting stretching routines onto my to-do list for the week and making time to do them. I don't need to track it. I don't need to look back. How many times did I do it throughout the year? Like, am I making any progress? I don't need to do like all these analytics in my life, right, to make sure that I'm doing the thing that I want to do. And I don't need to make sure I'm taking a certain amount of actions in my new business every week, especially when something is really new for you and it's an edge for you. It's the thing that you really feel is very inspiring, and maybe you're having to deal with a lot of doubt and programming in there that is telling you that it's like, all the doubt, can I really do this? Is this really possible? Should I instead try to build this other thing first that's been successful for this other business guru on the internet? What I would say is, don't force yourself ahead. This is what I've done. I don't force myself ahead. I fall back. I shore up things where I am now. It might involve organizing. It might involve kind of wrapping up the details of something I'm now leaving behind, such as last year's taxes. And it might involve, just getting really clear on something. It might involve decluttering, looking through that camera roll, deleting files, looking through your hard drive and deleting files, and then trusting that the next precise, inspired action is going to come. And when you write it down on your page, it's going to be like, ooh, it's kind of exciting. But this is what I love about bullet journaling too, is that you write it down there just in the same space as all of those mundane tasks, and then it becomes a little bit less scary, actually. It just becomes like, yeah, this is just the thing that I do as a person who's living my dreams. A person who is, living exactly the way that I want to live just does these kinds of things, and it's not an issue. What I found also over time is that I don't end up doing so many practices anymore. So I think a lot of you will be familiar with manifestation practices, scripting, like just getting a course and writing down all your visions and everything like that. It's not that those things are bad and that they aren't helpful, and I've definitely done them and found it helpful in the past, but I'm just telling you that over time, I find it just less engaging. I find actually engaging in the real tasks of my actual life as it is now, and actually being the person actually living it now instead of being the person manifesting is so much more powerful. I mean, think about it for a second. You want to be the person living it now, not the person manifesting it. So you don't need to do a lot of things to reprogram your subconscious mind. You just kind of have to take the steps forward that feel aligned for you. Be ready for some of the doubts to come up. Let them pass through. Know that they aren't who you actually are. They aren't where you've decided to focus now. Nurture yourself. Be still. Take time for stillness. And you're going to be great. And you get to just see your actual life changing over time in the pages of this book. Also, you get to see your own design aesthetic changing over time, which is kind of fun. Like, oh, I used to do it like this. This is where I was still drawing the lines, right? Not as cool, as in my opinion, as starting to do the tape. This might have been actually the very first time that I did the tape. And it's just really cool to see, like, oh, I used to have to do these things in my life, and now I'm in a completely different place. I'm doing a whole completely different set of tasks, and it's just it's a beautiful process. So I am so excited for you to get started, and certainly let me know in the comments below if you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and here's to you building a life that you love, one peaceful, intentional